What's going on, guys? It is Filmington here with Eddie Money. We are back with another installment of Buy, Sell, Hold. We are using price charts from Card Ladder and Market Movers today, and in no way are we suggesting that you buy, sell, or hold any of these cards because we don't understand your risk tolerance, your investment mix, your level of wealth, your time horizon. Do your own research. This is really just for general information purposes, I guess. Next up, we got Bryce Harper, 2012 Topps update. This is his rookie debut, gold in a PSA 10, a pop of only 40, $850. What do you think, Ed?
I like Harper. Oh, I'm a Phillies fan. Like Harper, he had a great season, MVP season last year. 850. I am honestly really surprised on the pop of this. Well, there's only 2012 of them, but 40 seems really low for a card that's been out since 2012. So I'm going to say buy on this card. It's not technically his true rookie, but it is an update, and people are always going to want the update cards because of the Trout effect, and Harper's the following year. It is a rookie debut, so if you've been following this video series, you're like, wait a minute, you're not a rookie debut guy, but people, I like this card. And the one bad thing I will say about Harper is he has a lot of rookie cards. He has tons of them, but this one's numbered out of 2012, low pop. I like that. It has a lot of enticing things to me. So for $850, I would probably buy it. I'd recommend it.
Yeah, I know in the past we've kind of bashed the whole rookie debut thing. We've talked about with Tatis, we've talked about with Ohtani a bit, and how it's almost like sort of a fad thing and prices are likely to temporarily spike and then come down hard and crash. With Bryce Harper, as you mentioned, this card's a little bit different in that it's his only pack-pulled rookie that was widely circulated. Not this, I'm talking about like the base version of this, whereas the other RC logo cards were either the short print 661A, which I don't know how many they printed, but it's certainly not a card that's easy to get your hands on. And then he's got the multiple cards that came from the complete sets, I believe, and those have always been lesser in desirability versus this card in base form. You mentioned the pop being small. Mike Trout from 2011, I think his PSA 10 pop's only about 50. And if you go back years before that, like Yadier Molina and Joey Votto, like their PSA 10 pop is super low. I think a lot of people just didn't take these cards seriously. Even this one here has damaged corners that's in the PSA 10 holder, a little bit older holder. One dangerous thing to do here would be to kind of compare this to other rookies with like similar pops, and they're like with Arenado, with Christian Yelich. Obviously Harper's at he's at a different place in the hobby with regards to how he's perceived, so his stuff's gonna be more expensive, but it's still a debut card, so it's tough to think that this is undervalued because it's only X amount over Arenado, yet his Bowman Chrome autograph sells for a lot more than Arenado. So don't do any of those funky formulas to try to think that this is actually worth a ton more than it is. One of the reasons why I like this, other than the low pop, we talked about the significance of the rookie card, it's sold for a lot higher. I think there's been, it's hard to count the dots here, but maybe 6 to 8 sales over the last 10 were higher or close to the current level. And that was long before he made his MVP run in like May or June forward. So that's kind of weird to me. He does have 2 MVPs, and his cards, I don't know if they have that fully baked in. This one doesn't seem to have it fully baked in. So I do like this card, and I would be buying this card. 29 years old, 43 Fangraphs WAR. He could be on his way to a Hall of Fame type situation.
He's projecting there.
Yep. Next up, Bichette, PSA 10 Bowman Chrome autograph, pop 198, selling for about $850. What do you think, Ed?
This one's a tough one because I do like Bichette. I like his skill set. First Bowman Chrome autograph, $850 seems it seems a little too high for me. Probably sell on this one. I only say that because I don't think the hobby loves guys that do power. And I don't know if Bo Bichette's ever going to turn into like a perennial power guy. I do view him as a player who is going to be very, very good on an incredible offense, like I mentioned before with Vlad with the Blue Jays. There's a lot Bo Bichette does that I like, but I don't know. 856 seems a little steep for me for this card, but it's a tough call.
I'm with you there. I was kind of back and forth on this. I think I'm like a low conviction buy or maybe a hold on this. It's 23 years old. This past year, he had 29 home runs, 25 steals. Projections have him taking a step back, a small step back statistically. But he did have a 4.9 Fangraphs WAR, which is pretty nice. Also, if you're to like pull apart his baseball savant profile, his hard hit rate was 83 percentile, which I think is very good for him. And his max exit velo was actually 96 percentile. But the thing about him is he doesn't walk a lot. 6% walk rate. Granted, that is up from, I think, 4% the year before. He's a guy that doesn't have the best plate discipline. He does have a very high chase rate, so he swings a lot at pitches outside the zone. So that could kind of hold him back and cause maybe some prolonged slumps. Having said that, though, he's kind of been the same player for like almost 2.5 years now. And that's pretty impressive. Do his stolen bases fall in time? Does he become less flashy? And does he hit 30 home runs consistently? Probably not. But because he is a shortstop, maybe not the best defensive shortstop, but because he is a shortstop, gives him like kind of increased visibility and more appreciation just for commanding the that sort of premium position. So $850, at least his prices have been flat for about a year. So I appreciate that at least. And I don't feel like I'm buying at the peak if I'm buying him now. I don't know if he's going to get a whole lot better this coming year in 2022, but I think he has the capability of putting together a very similar season to what he had. And I think that could be a non-negative thing for his hobby values.
Well, he's incredibly young, 23. I mean, he can always develop power over time.
Right. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, his frame kind of, suggests maybe that could be somewhat limited, but there have been smaller players that have hit 35 home runs. So we'll see. All right, next up, we got Mookie Betts here. 2014 Topps Heritage base card, PSA 10 with a pop of 810, selling for $330. This one has lost more than half its value from its peak. What do you think, Ed?
I'm actually going to be a buy on this because if you've been following Mookie, he tends to have a really good season than like an average season, a really good season than like an average season. Last year he wasn't. It was like a pretty average season for him. So I think this year he's going to be pretty. I think he's going to be pretty damn good this year. I'm not saying he'll be like a top 5 in the MVP, but I think he'll have a pretty solid season for the Dodgers. 330. I think. I don't think there's too much risk there. Obviously, you're buying the card when it's way down. I mean, it was almost pushing $900, so that's quite a dip. But I still like Mookie. I like what he brings. I think probably the hobby was disappointed that he's not going to be putting up like, an MVP season every year or be like a Trout type of player, but he's still very, very good, very solid player. For 330, I'm definitely a buy on this. I'm pretty strong buy because I think Mookie's going to do real good this year.
Yeah, I definitely echo what you say. He tends to excel in the even years, which, I mean, there's probably nothing scientific about that. Maybe it's just all kind of a fluke, but his best years do come in the even years if you're to go off of WAR, certainly. And the year he just had 122 games played because he was banged up. So it was documented that he was battling injuries. He still put up a 3.9 Fangraphs WAR.
That's solid.
And
that's good.
Yeah, and if you extrapolate that across a full season's worth of games, that's actually a lot of people to say like, oh, he had a bad season. No, Cody Bellinger had a bad season.
Yes.
He had like a -2 WAR. Mookie Betts was good but not great. He was actually arguably very good still. And that's a bad season for Mookie Betts. So I think, coming into this season, he was the consensus probably number 2 player in the game. If you're to like not, if you're to not consider any of the guys that are under the age of 23 or that were under the age of 23 at the time. Now, of course, he's got more competition. I think, a lot of people try to compare him to Trout. Well, he's won championships, and I think that's a big mistake. If you're to just look at WAR, which is what baseball is predominantly built on, the hobby values are built on individual accomplishments, statistical stuff, statistical dominance, MVPs. Yeah, he doesn't compare with Trout. He probably never will, but that doesn't mean he should be selling for 6% of Mike Trout's values, which if you're to look at some of like the Bowman Chrome refractor autographs, like based on some of the uptick we've seen with Trout's prices over the last few weeks, he is really at about 6%, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, I think I'm a buy with this card. I'm not a huge fan of Heritage. It might be somewhat of a longer term play. It is well below highs, but you're still looking at like price levels around like 2020. Granted, some of that's before he got the long-term extension from the Dodgers, which certainly helped. He did miss that MVP. He was close, but Freddie Freeman beat him out in 2020, which probably didn't help either. But yeah, I still think that I think the hobby really started to recognize him for who he really was, probably in the offseason following 2020. And then his prices started to come back more in line with what he's actually truly worth. So yeah, I'd be a buy in this card. I'd probably prefer the Topps Chrome update because it's got a more desirable and recognizable image, and it's actually in shorter print than this. So if you're going to go with a base card, I'd probably go with that. That one will set you back a little bit more. That's another one that's fallen more than 50% from highs, though. All right, next up, we got Kyle Tucker. This is his base autograph from Topps Chrome. Pop 30, selling for about $250. What do you think, Ed?
Well, not a lot of data there. Well, we got 4 sales. Little chart.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's only 90 days worth of data.
I gotcha. I'm gonna say buy the refractors since it's not the base auto, since it's a refractor auto. I think those are numbered out of 499. I want to say.
Right. True. Sorry, I missed that distinction.
I'll say buy. I'll say buy on this card. 250. Kyle Tucker. He really had a really nice season, probably under the radar season for the general hobby. He did really good. He did great in the postseason. He was really solid there. And moving forward, the Astros are going to probably be losing Carlos Correa, so they're going to have a change in that clubhouse there. Moving forward with Jordan and Kyle Tucker moving forward, those are the 2 young guys for the franchise. So, and both of them are really exciting offensive players. So I do like Kyle Tucker. I don't know if he'll ever be a big force in the hobby, but crazier things have happened. But for 250, that seems like a decent buy for this card.
Yeah, with me, this is probably another low conviction buy. I have to be careful here because this is where I start to conflate fantasy baseball research and hobby research. From a fantasy baseball perspective, I think he's a better buy opportunity. And I'll explain a little bit of that once I go through his numbers. But 2021, 9% walk rate, 16% K rate. And this is the type of trending I like to see. If you go back 3 years, he improved his K rate in each of the last 3 years. It's fallen in each of the last 3 years. And his walk rate has increased in each of the last 3 years. It's really tough to find that. And it's not a telltale sign that that's definitely going to continue. But that's the type of trending you want to see for a guy that's coming into his prime. And this is a guy that's largely ignored in the hobby, but he put up, I think, low 30s home runs and about 14 steals. If you were to look at his Baseball Savant page, his expected slugging was 96 percentile. So that kind of backs up what he had. I think he was around like 530, 540 slug. Expected average 99. So this is a guy with a pretty ugly swing, but he gets it done. It's kind of like Christian Yelich. He has the ability to probably have a massive season. I don't know when that's going to be. He did have 70 extra base hits this past year, which is very impressive for a guy that's sort of just coming into his own. The defense is interesting. So he's similar to Bichette in that he's like just below the hobby's radar. Tucker even more so, based on where his prices are versus Bichette. But he is 2 years older. And that is important, and that is material, I think. So that would be the key difference between those two players. In the position they play, it's different. Kyle Tucker based on which defensive metric you look at, he was either really good or below average. So about above average, 89 percentile. Fangraphs defensive WAR was not very good. So I'm not sure what to take from that. But if he is able to improve his defense in time, he is an athletic fella. Maybe that'll help his overall line, his overall WAR, and maybe he'll start to get more recognition in the hobby. But being 25 already, and really just having his first full, very, very good season, because 2020 was the shortened COVID season, he's a little bit behind. He's a little bit behind now. So he's going to have to, this is the type of situation where if there's an injury to him, where he misses significant time, his prices will take a hit, and justifiably so, probably. All right, last up, 2018 Topps Update Hobby Boxes. These have been flat for a while. For the past almost year, it looks like. What's this, like 9 months worth of data? $1,200 starting point. They dipped to 900 all the way down to probably like 725. Now they're back to 925. What do you think, Ed?
How many of these do you have, Phil?
A few cases. I've got a few cases of regular hobby. I've got some blasters too.
Boy, what hobby boxes used to be what, like 150?
Well, depending how far back you go, they probably got as low as like $43.
Oh my God. And now we're talking about potentially buying or selling them at $925. Would I personally buy this for $925? Probably no, but if you have a little money tree and you want to buy something in the hobby, if you want to sit on something, I would probably suggest getting the 2018 Update Series hobby box, because the rookie class is just ridiculous in that year. So you're going to Acuna. I mean, well, the number one dog is Soto. Then you got Acuna. Then you have also Shane Bieber. I'm not going to say Gleyber Torres. That'll lower the value. But you have a lot of people, a lot of good rookies in there. And, Soto and Acuna are going to drive this one for a while. And sealed wax is usually king. People are always going to want to chase a Soto or Acuna rookie in here. So I don't know. I think it's going to depend. The success of this particular product will depend on their success. That's probably why it's flatlined, because Acuna's been out, and the hobby really loves Acuna, so that's probably why it's been it teetered off. But I'll recommend buy it. It's a good long-term hold.
Yeah, I think Ohtani stuff also cooled off after May or June.
Yeah, right.
And like you said, Acuna is the main reason for the decline. You see that trend line kind of sloping down. And also, if you're more macro-wise, PSA being closed, that's certainly has had an effect on wax. The fact that people don't have that entry point of $50. Well, now you can do it for 50, but under $50. I think that certainly hurt the values of a lot of sealed products, especially the lower end stuff where 95% of what you're going to pull is going to be not worth submitting at 75 or $100. In this case, there's probably a few cards, a bunch of cards that you could submit at those levels. This is the product or one of the products I really like from 2018. Unlike Topps Chrome, you also have Soto in it, which is huge. And he's the number one guy right now of those three, probably. Ohtani, he's got multiple cards in this. Of course, Acuna doesn't have the bat down, but he's got the bat up, and all of those image variations and the gold parallels, the black parallels, and all the other goodies. I think of everything that we showed in this episode, this is probably my biggest buy, and it seems kind of crazy because the stuff is up literally 20x in 3 years. But I do think that there's some sort of a PSA reopening play. If we do see that, maybe in quarter 3, quarter 4, where the cost to grade a card goes hopefully below $35 at some point, I think that could help kind of lift the resistance line off this product. But yeah, I certainly like this one a lot. Every generation has a top 3 or 4 products, and I think this will certainly be one of those. And that is it for today's episode. Hopefully you liked what you saw. Let us know down below in the comments what you agreed with, what you didn't. Thanks for watching, and like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. Take care, guys.